for people to show up. So this is where we just sit here and look really awkward for a minute.
You have your tea?
I do.
What do you have?
It's actually lemonade. That's what I
lemon-
was in the mood for.
Yeah, I have chamomile rose. So how about that?
Love chamomile tea. Love it.
Yeah.
I got my daughter hooked on chamomile lavender tea at night because she kind of has a little trouble sleeping, and it helps just kind of soothe everything. So
Yep.
Yeah.
It's soothing.
Exactly. The first few times though, she's like, "Mom, it's like drinking dirt." So yeah, welcome to herbal tea, my friend.
The rose sometimes is kind of like you licked your grandma. You know what I mean? It has a grandma smell. I mean, a good smell. A good
right.
Yep,
No,
definitely.
it's true. And rose can be an overpowering scent if there's, or not scent, flavor, if the balance isn't good. So,
yeah. I think too.
Wow.
So, anyway, so is that like an antique typewriter on your shelf? It's cool.
Right
and
there.
Is that Mr. Darcy?
Yes.
And Mr.
From
Darcy.
Our Austen Tea Party.
Look at that. I have a Mr. Darcy picture too. Can you see
Oh, it's even the same Mr. Darcy.
Yeah.
We're like best friends.
Cute.
That is so fun. Yeah, when my husband first saw it in there, he was like, so you have a picture of Darcy. Is there a picture of me anywhere in your office? And I was like, maybe.
I want to Mr. Darcy and the USS Constitution, and none of like my kids or.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I have a picture of Lego Batman as well, so I don't think you need to be jealous of the people adorning my walls. Oh my gosh. Well, we have 7 people tuning in with us right now. Dear 7 people, please feel free to leave a comment. Let us know that you're here. I have a few questions, but first, since we have some people who've tuned in case they aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit about either your most recent release or an upcoming release, or just kind of acquaint us with your writing.
So I do have an upcoming one that I'm kind of excited about. It's called Solving Sophronia, and it's a Victorian mystery kind of. I liked the idea of moving to 50 years ahead because then I could have the ladies have jobs and, be able to go to school and be nurses or teachers and this woman's a reporter. And so anyway, and she stumbles upon a mystery and,
just can't help herself.
And mysteries are hard. Have you ever written a mystery?
Yes. And I can't tell you how many times I emailed Josie Kilpack. It was like, help me, I don't know how to write a mystery.
It is so, you have to figure out, it was so hard for me to do. I had to figure out, okay, this guy knows this, and she knows this, but she figured it out this way. Does she know that he knows this, and does the bad guy know that they know? Or, it was so much, every time I read through it, I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. It's so hard. So anyway, that's what we've got coming up.
That is fantastic, and that's coming out this year, you said, right?
In 1 month.
Wow.
What do you
that's
have?
Coming so close. I have a release in September. It's a Georgian era, so 1700s. Pops us back a little bit in time.
It's the Jonquil mom, right?
Yeah, mom and dad.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even know her real name. I only know her
Julia. Yeah, she's made her. Julia. Yeah.
She's a real
exactly.
What's her last
name? Her maiden name is Cummings, but obviously her married name becomes Jonquil. And then I have a Victorian coming out in November. So,
and it's you've got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they're keeping me busy, which is good since I'm not allowed to leave this room for another week. Might as well be editing.
So is that a desk? You have a desk there, and you have a bookshelf and everything.
I'm sitting at a desk, and back here behind me is bookshelves. And there's more bookshelves here and shelves up above me, and back here is like a daybed couch kind of thing. And a closet back there.
Your bedroom. This is like your office guest room.
My office guest room, exactly. That's where I've been holed
Oh.
up.
Mm.
Oh, we have
That's
a
nice.
comment. Corby says, I think I figured out how to participate. Yay! We were just
Yay.
saying earlier that technology is kind of sometimes overwhelming. Like if you haven't used it yet or for a while, you just think, ah. All right, she says, is this your first event you've done together? Oh, Jenny and I go way back.
Not our first. We do
Yeah.
lots of stuff together, don't you think? I mean,
We do.
I'm kind of introverted, so I don't do stuff with very many people. So
Yeah. My daughter, for my birthday one year, was going to get me a mug that says, I don't like mornings or people or morning people.
oh yeah,
Because that's kind of me. But yeah, no, we've known each other for ages. We do a lot of stuff together, so it's been fun to virtually hang out with everybody. Erin says, hello, I'm happy to see you both. I love both your books. Thank you, Erin.
nice, Erin. Thank you.
When I sent out yesterday asking everyone who would you like me to invite to our Tea with Friends virtual tea party, your name came up over and over and over again, and I was like, oh, I bet we can make that happen.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. So that was that was a good idea. You and Tracy. That was really fun to watch, you guys.
Yeah, we had a good time. We were both supposed to do events here right about this time, but obviously everything's been canceled, and so I just reached out and said, hey, let's hang out virtually. And people can hang out with us, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. All right, I've written down a few questions while we're waiting to get some to come in. I happen to know, because I know you and I stalk you on social media, that you prepared for this quarantine by getting a new puppy.
Yeah, we have a puppy. That's why I'm locked in my room, because I can hear him outside the door, just like.
Oh my gosh.
So
how's that going? Because a lot of us are just trying to deal with kids at home and working from home, and you're like, and a puppy.
Why not? Yeah, we obviously didn't know we were going to be trapped at home when we decided to get a puppy.
Right.
So, but it's because then I have all these helpers. Because have you had a puppy before, or was your dog older when you got him?
No, we got our dog as an older dog.
We did too. So this is my first puppy. So Daisy was older, but this little guy, I didn't realize you have to take him out all the time, and they cry, and you have to hold them. And
it's like having a baby.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we're going outside all the time, and we have helpers, so he's cute.
And it gives your boys something to do, which
I know
is probably nice too, because
seriously,
I watch the exploits of your boys again because I stalk you, and I just think, oh, there's so much energy in that house.
Right. Well, so do you have? I guess your kids are older too. You have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have so much homework. We have. Well, in your room, we are just doing work all the time, all day.
Yeah.
And I'm getting emails from the teachers and making sure, did you see this email? Did you see this? Did you with all the, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, exactly. And all the lists, and you're checking in. Now, my oldest is in college, so I basically told him, hey, it's your tuition money. You decide if you fail or pass. Because I'm such a loving mother. But then my daughter is still in high school, and she's trying to make this adjustment, and it's an adjustment for everybody. And yeah, I'm doing it from inside my room. What class are you working on now?
What are you doing out there?
Exactly. I have a feeling you're on Minecraft.
Yeah. My kids are doing Minecraft too.
Yeah.
Well, and my two older ones are in college, but they still show me their papers before they hand them in, and they still kind of touch base a lot. So I'm
exactly. Yeah.
I teach all day.
Did you see that meme going around that it said basically, Shakespeare wrote King Lear while in quarantine for the plague? Right. And I was like, yeah, well, Shakespeare had a wife. Right. If I had one, I'd write King Lear too. Right. All right, Laura has hopped on, and she's asking, what character are you most like in any of your books? It's a tough question, huh?
It is a tough question. Am I? Well, and don't you think you kind of change over time too? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Like you might think, when I wrote this character, I was a lot like them. Now I'm not as much. Yeah, no, I can see that.
My little critique group told me when we were going through Miss Burton, that book, they were like, oh, this is so you. But now I look back at that, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really me anymore. That was me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe Sophronia. I don't know. She's really I don't know. She's cool, so obviously I'm just like her.
That's got to be who it is. Whichever character you like most, that's who I'm the most like.
I think maybe like her grandma is more like me. Her grandma's kind of a free spirit, and I relate to her grandma more.
Yeah.
Than a 18-year-old girl or however old she is.
No, I get it. I get it. And again, as you get older, like when I first started my Jonquil books, I think I related a lot to the heroines of the various stories, and now I'm starting to relate a whole lot more to Mater.
Right,
it's like,
mom,
boys,
right?
stop making bad choices.
So don't you think is it Sorrel? Is that how we say her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of you. She kind of was a little bit prickly at first, or maybe kind of, and just how she's always, her feet always hurt. Maybe that's why I think of you.
Well, no, and I wrote that book when I was first starting to deal with what we would later find out was related to the various chronic illnesses and diseases that I have. So I was in a lot of pain when I wrote it, and you can tell because it kind of channeled into that character.
Yeah. Well, she's snarky a little bit, and she's funny, but you got to kind of get to know her. I like her. She's one of my favorite girls.
She's a lot of fun.
She's cool.
Okay, cool. Sylvia's asking, what kind of tea am I drinking? Okay, I was telling Jennifer this at the very beginning. It's actually lemonade, because that's what I was craving. Sylvia's saying she drinks hot tea from a teapot every day, so she was curious. We were saying that we both drink a lot of, at least herbal tea, between the two of us. Chamomile and lavender is a favorite of mine at night. During cold and flu season, I do a lot of lemon and honey, because it helps to coat the throat. And I'm trying to think about the ones I like. I love peppermint tea, so yeah.
There's one that I found that is like Good Earth or something, and someone gave it to me for Christmas, and it tastes like hot tamales. It is so yummy.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So it's like a cinnamon.
It's kind of cinnamon, but if they had told me cinnamon, I don't think I would have liked it. You know what I mean? But I was like, oh, what? It's, Good Earth, and it's called something like Sweet and Spicy or something like that. I want to say Good Earth, but that's not sounding like it's the right name. But when I looked on Amazon, it was one of the first ones that popped up. It has an orange box. So
yeah, I'll have to look that one up. But no, I really do like herbal tea. It's very, very yummy.
And I'm always kind of chilly, so it keeps you warm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Sylvia is asking, Jennifer, do you have a favorite Jane Austen book? And if you have seen them, a favorite film adaptation from an Austen book?
Obviously, it's the Colin Firth, Mr. Darcy is the best film adaptation. It's the best.
You know, that thing. This is why authors have editors.
I love Pride and Prejudice, but I also really love Persuasion, too. I don't know, and I loved the new Emma. Have you seen the new Emma?
I haven't.
You can see it.
I'm so glad it's streaming now, because heaven knows when I will get back to a movie theater.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I just loved it. For a book I've read and something that I've seen so often, it surprised me so much. I just loved it. So
yay. I love that, especially when the source material is so familiar. It's hard to be surprised by it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's nice when they can figure that one out.
Yeah, it was so cute. But I mean, Colin Firth. At
the beginning of this stream, we were showing each other that we both have pictures of Colin Firth's Darcy in our offices.
I'll have to get I should put mine right by me so that
there you go, for inspiration.
Darcy.
Erin is agreeing that Good Earth has a very good sweet and spicy tea, which is probably the one you're thinking of. Yeah,
sweet and spicy.
Fantastic. Sylvia's asking me, will Mater ever remarry? I can't tell you that. Well, there you go. How's that for ducking a question?
Didn't she have a story recently? A Christmas story?
Oh, that is the Duke's mother. Not the Jonquil mother. Yeah. Different mom.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah, one I'm not going to answer. I regularly refuse to ansser questions. It's very freeing. How old do we think
she is? She's in her 50s, right? She's not.
Yes, her very early 50s. Mm-hmm.
She's got plenty of life. She's got plenty of life ahead.
Exactly. Let's see. I'll get some more over here. What are you working on right now? Besides not killing your children, which is what all of us are working on right now.
I'm working on a, so Covenant wanted to do a little, like a novella for this release of this new series. So, and they told me like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, you've got like 2 weeks to get it done. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to put together a novella, and it's the grandma's story, and so it's 50 years earlier. So it's Regency, but it's short, and that's what
About how long are you aiming for on it?
30,000. And they kept, and they was like, so do you think like 15,000 words? And they were like, no, 30.
Yeah, you want to go a little bit longer. Yeah, 15,000, you're almost doing a short story. Almost. 30 is probably a good length.
Yep.
Awesome. So Jill has hopped in with a question. She wants to know, what are we currently reading just for fun?
Oh, what are we reading just for fun?
I know. I thought, what am I reading for fun?
So have you guys ever read the Penny Green mysteries? They're kind of fun. And I just ordered the most recent, but then Amazon's taking a long time to get them to me. But that's what I'm waiting for, is number 9 in the Penny Green series. Yeah.
I know they're prioritizing like medical type things and household things and stuff as they ship. I have been reading a Penny Dreadful, so an actual Penny Dreadful from the 1830s. I've been reading it out loud, a chapter at a time on YouTube with my readers. So anyone tuning in, that's what I'm reading for fun, and you're welcome to join along. I post links to it on my social media all the time. Shayna wants to know, the novella you're writing, is it for a holiday collection?
No, this one, I don't really know what they're going to do. They said they wanted to release it just right before the book comes out, like a teaser.
A teaser, yeah.
But, gosh, I mean, it's like a lot of work for a teaser.
Right? You're like,
I'm going to do one with the timeless ones, and that will be a holiday one in the next couple of months. I love those. Right. I love those timeless ones. They're so fun. So what are you doing, Sarah? You're working on your...
Yeah, I'm finishing up edits on my November release. I finished them on the September one. I'm finishing them on the November one. I just yesterday finished drafting Charlie Jonquil's book, which hopefully will come out next year. Everyone cross your fingers. And then I need to finish drafting another 2021 release that I have to turn in at the end of the summer. So.
And Charlie... That's it, right?
It's the end of that family.
We're getting them all taken care of, and then...
Luckily, there are lots of opportunities for offshoots, so we can still revisit them. But the core of the brothers concludes with him. So it's been fun to write, but also, a little bittersweet. These boys have been with me for most of my career, so...
I mean, 15 years, right? At least. Is it? How long has that been?
I published,
like 20.
Stranger. Yeah, my very first, I guess, was Courting Miss Lancaster, which kind of started all of this, was 2010, so 10 years. But I wrote Kiss of a Stranger in 2006, so that's been almost 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. Jill says she is so excited to read Solving Sophronia. I am too. I love the Victorian era. And I love that we're seeing more books come out in that era. So I'm excited.
It's time to, I'm a little tired of the Regency, and I'm ready to try something new. So, and this isn't a very charming part of the Victorian era either. It's kind of just right in that depression in the 1870s, but it's also awesome because there's all, women could inherit property all of a sudden, and they could run companies, and so it's kind of fun. It's really fun to have.
My book, Ashes on the Moor, is 1870s Victorian England for similar reasons, because you had more movement amongst the women of the country because they had more opportunities. And like you said, it's not super glamorous time, but there's so much going on that it's really, really interesting. So,
yeah. And I think I need a good plot-driven, I need a good plot. I think that you do really good character-driven stories, but I'm not. I'm a chicken. I don't know. I'm not as good at that.
I don't know. I love your characters.
I need a plot, man. or something.
That should go on a t-shirt. I need a plot, man. Right? Wear it every time we're working on something new. Okay, Jill says, both of you have kids at home, right? Are they involved with your writing, or is it mom's thing? That's a good question.
Mine are not involved at all. They don't care.
They're like, whatever, Mom.
They're supportive, but they are not involved. So what about you?
My daughter actually is. She is a really, really great brainstorming partner. I often runs plot ideas and character ideas past her. She has a really good sense of story, so she's a great one to run things past. So yeah, she is fairly involved. My husband reads a lot of what I write. My son, who's 19 and a half, I'm sure he's proud of me. He's very supportive, but not really his thing. I keep telling him he should read them because it gives him something to talk to girls about. But, oh well.
But oh well.
That's right. So yeah, not deeply, deeply involved, but they do take part to a degree, I guess.
Catherine came to the Whitneys, and she could carry on a conversation with all the, with everybody about books and stuff. She's booky. She likes,
is.
In drama. Is it drama that she's a drama lady.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, she'll be a senior next year when she eventually moves on. She wants to be a voice actor. And I think one of the things she'll probably do is audiobook narrating. So, yeah, she has a great sense of story and she loves to read. And she's a lot of fun. All right, we have another question. Yay, guys! So I've written down a few I can ask, but it's way more fun when they come from you. Okay, Jana wants to know, do you set your deadlines or how many books / novellas you put out per year, or is it your publishers, or is it a combination?
It's a combination. At first I was trying to do about 2 a year, but then I don't know, then something would come up like one of the timeless novellas, and then I would try to do 3, and then I was like, well, I need to back off and do 1. And I don't know. It just, what about you? How do you do it?
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think with either of us, our publishers force us to meet a particular deadline. It's, at least for me, it's more of a discussion. It's what do they have room for in their release schedule? What do I have time to write? What does it make sense to be writing and working on? And because I work with more than one publisher, and you do as well, between the Timeless, and you've done things with Wild Rose Press and Covenant, you're kind of balancing the different publishers and different projects. So it is definitely a combination.
Yeah, and there's some years where I notice a difference in like a paycheck because I will be like, I only had 1 book come out this year. So I try to do that too, work around.
Yes, okay. If I only put out 1 book this year, how's that going to affect the old bank book? Yeah.
I think this time when they wanted this little novella, that's the first time they've ever said, okay, you need to do this and have it by this time if you're going to, and I was like, oh. So
yeah, they're starting to be a little bit more stringent about when things need to be turned in by, which is a pretty good idea because so much has to happen on the publishing end of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, Carmen wants to know, was it awkward at first sharing your first book with your family? Good question.
Yeah, it's scary. Especially, my first book was The Sheik's Ruby, if you have... And I know, now that looking back, I will not apologize, but it is very cheesy.
Right, no, you don't need to apologize for it, but I know.
So proud of it. But yeah, it's kind of like a little embarrassing, especially like my dad's reading these kissing scenes. And I don't know.
That's why I just don't write kissing scenes.
Yeah. It was kind of scary. And
that's funny.
It's super private. That's kind of your most private daydream things, and you're letting people know what goes on in, I don't know. Yeah. What about you? Was it scary to?
Well, and I first started writing because my mom dared me to. So other than my husband, who I at least told I was writing, she's the first person who ever read what I wrote. And I had finished a book and gave it to her for Mother's Day. I had printed it up at Kinko's.
Oh,
I look back and think, man, I was brave because I don't know if I would have that kind of guts now. But yeah, gave it to her and she read it. So
And so she believed, you knew that, you know what I mean? You knew that she would,
exactly.
That's cool. That's a cool mom. You knew she wouldn't be critical of it.
Right. It tells you there was a lot of trust there. And she did. She liked it.
What was it?
That was
it Persephone?
Kiss of a Stranger.
Oh, that was the one. That was your first one, huh?
That was my first. Well, that's where it all started.
But it wasn't the one that came out, though, right?
Which I think is fairly common. A lot of authors, the first book they write isn't the first book that's published. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's same with me.
All right, Laura is asking, what got you interested in history? Because, we both write a lot of historicals.
Yeah. I mean, didn't we all have that history teacher that made it so fun and interesting? I think, I love history. I've always loved it. And
me too.
My brother's a history professor. And we've always my parents bought a lot of books when we were kids too. And there just were books at our house. We read a lot of history and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good story. So what about you? Do you have a...
No, I'm very similar. I always loved history. I had an amazing AP U.S. history in high school. She actually had her PhD in U.S. history with an emphasis on women's history, which I thought was very interesting. But I had always loved it even before then. And like you, we had history books at the house. I can remember watching documentaries with my family. Like we just were always kind of nerdy in that way. Yeah. So just sort of fed the enjoyment of it. All right, Shanna wants to know, do you come up with what children say in your books, or do you throw in some funny things that your own kids sometimes say? Basically, do we steal from people in real life and put it in our books? From
our kids. Maybe. I guess I haven't thought about it, but...
It's hard to say, right?
When kids talk in a book, I guess you kind of make it sound like a kid,
Exactly. There's going to be a little bit of that.
Specifically
and I know with us, both of our kids are older now, so...
Mine don't say cute things.
No. Like, come on, guys. The cuteness factor has worn down.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Oh, my gosh.
I wish I did now.
Yeah. Come on, kids. Give me some ready-made dialogue. That would be amazing. Okay. Sylvia wants to know, do your characters talk to you?
No, and I have heard people say that they do that. Sometimes I'll maybe imagine, like if I'm doing my hair, just kind of, in the kitchen doing something, I'll kind of imagine a dialogue or a conversation, but
right.
I really have to kind of force it a little bit. And I know people say that. They say, my characters did this, and then they took off, and I didn't see the story was going to go like this and all this, but that hasn't really ever happened to me. So it kind of, I don't know. Sometimes it changes as you get to know the characters, but they don't really ever take it off. But,
or you'll be working on something and you can tell something about it isn't working, and so you try something different than you were expecting, and there it goes. I think that's the basic experience people are explaining. They just explain it probably in different ways.
But yeah, I do hear people say that all the time. Like they would not leave me alone until I wrote this scene or whatever, but that is not how I feel. I feel like
I get asked, because what is her name? She wrote the Twilight books. Why is my brain going totally blank? Yes. Her book started with a dream. People always say, do you ever dream scenes for your books? I said, my dreams are so weird. If I tried to turn that into a book, no one would read it.
Salvador Dali.
Yeah, exactly. I dreamed the other day my nephew came to live with us, but he had been turned into a soccer ball. And to turn him back into a human, I had to teach him differential calculus. Those are the kind of dreams I have.
It's because you're taking medication for your feet. Don't you think? Those are drug dreams.
All the stuff I'm on, my body's like, okay, here we go. It's coming.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, Sylvia's also asking, where's your favorite place to write?
I like up here. I'm in my office. I usually write up here. It's quiet and warm, and I have a little teapot over there, and space heater, and my blankie, and
yes, which is nice when it's still snowing
everywhere.
Here in Utah.
Yeah. What about you? Well, you're stuck in there. Do you always write in there when you?
I write here.
Even
I
when
do
you're
a lot of writing in my office. I also regularly go down to Kneaders and or Noodles and Company. And we'll spend an hour or so writing there. Sometimes I just need to get a change of scenery, a different place. I had joked with my agent that one of these days I'm going to dedicate a book to Kneaders and Noodles and Company, and she said maybe you should just dedicate it to carbs and get it over with. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's about right.
Harmon's before, how Harmon's has that person. Yeah, that's
right.
Kind of fun. Or Starbucks, or
kind of a change of scenery and change things up a little.
Sometimes car, while I'm waiting at football practice, I'll have my computer in there or something.
Oh, yeah.
But this makes
I don't know a single writer mom with kids at home who hasn't done a decent amount of writing in the car, waiting to pick someone up from something.
Waiting.
Yeah, exactly. We find time where we can find it. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I have some more questions for you. I know you, well, maybe not at this exact moment, but I know you travel a lot. Is there a favorite place that you have traveled to or visited?
I always love England. Like Ireland for you, I guess. Right. I love it there. I just feel like, and I know it's because, I don't know, it's got to be like your DNA is from there or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what it is. I love that. But I went to Greece a few years ago with my brother, and he teaches over there at the University of Athens. And so he's fun, and he speaks Greek, and he could take us to all these cool places. And that was super fun. Just, really kind of go on a trip with my brother,
Right. And to go somewhere with someone who knows that place and knows the people. And that is a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was cool. It was interesting. So he had been there for the whole summer. He teaches all summer, and I met him at the end. And we would walk around, and he's like, I have got my hair cut here. I bought all of my clothes here. And people always still spoke to him in English. Like they still knew he was an American. Isn't that interesting?
Right,
and
yeah.
Like, why don't they think I'm German? Or why don't, and we asked someone, and he said it's teeth. Said America,
I believe it.
Teeth.
Because we have nice teeth. Yeah, exactly.
And nobody else does that. Really He's like, oh, yeah, you can spot an American, anywhere.
That's so funny. Yeah, whenever I'm in Ireland, until I start talking, people assume I'm Irish, which is really kind of fun. But then the moment that American accent comes out, they all go,
what's up with that?
Right, these are the people. Exactly. First time we were there, we hadn't even been there 24 hours when my husband was like, okay, I feel like I understand you so much better now. Because we were there surrounded by the culture that had created the family I grew up in. And my daughter saying, you look like everybody here. I'm like, I know. The DNA is strong with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're your people.
They are. Fit in very well. Okay, Jessica is asking, if you could tell your younger writing self anything, what would it be? Good question.
I would probably tell her to have confidence, because it's so scary to, and it's okay to do dumb, embarrassing stories or, just write stupid things that no one will like. I would prefer to have confidence and just do it, even, Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think one thing, this is something I still have trouble with, but one thing I would go back and tell early publishing Sarah is to take the time while you're on the journey to celebrate the steps on that journey. I think we're so focused on, this is the big goal I have down the road, this is where I'm headed, this is what I want to accomplish, that it's easy to overlook those steps we're taking along the way. And I think when you don't take the time to step back and kind of acknowledge that, it's so easy to get burned out, and it's so easy to get discouraged because you don't realize how far you've actually come because your mind is so focused on how much further you have to go. So that's something I would tell myself. Basically slow down, acknowledge it, celebrate.
And enjoy it, because
Exactly.
that book that you write and you don't have a publisher yet and you don't have anybody looking at it, nobody's written bad reviews to you or told you that you're just doing it for yourself. That's the funnest, that's the best time I've ever had. I enjoyed writing that Shakes Ruby more than anything I've ever written since. So
I have not enjoyed writing anything as much as I did before I was published. And you don't, not that you dislike it, it's just very different.
But, and then the whole time you have it in your head like, oh yeah, once I'm published, and you didn't even enjoy that. time.
Enjoy, where you are and what you're accomplishing. Agreed. Okay. Jessica, another question coming up from her. Is it difficult for you to create characters of the opposite gender? If so, how do you overcome it?
So do you remember that show, As Good as It Gets? This is not what I think, but do you remember what Jack Nicholson said? Like, that when he writes women, he's like, I write a man and then I take away all reason or whatever. But I think it's kind of hard to write men's. It is. I try
it's different from yours.
Make their dialogue kind of shorter. They don't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're hard.
I can remember at a critique group meeting, it's been years ago, and I had brought a scene, and Jeff Savage was at that meeting because he was in our group, and he was the only guy who happened to be there that day. And I had read this scene out loud, and we got to him in his notes, and he said, okay, let me give you a bit of advice about writing men. He said, your character has been thinking for 2 pages. No man thinks that much. I was like, because it's not that they don't think, they're just more concise about it. Just shrink that up. And so I've taken that to heart. And when I write them, I let them, obviously think about things and ponder things, but not for nearly as long as I had originally been doing it.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, so let them be more concise. And so I try to apply that to their thinking process, to their speech. And then my husband reads a lot of what I write, and every once in a while I'll get feedback from him where he says, your guy doesn't make sense for these reasons, or it would feel more authentic if they did this. So that helps me, as having a guy who will step in and go, that's not how it would work. Good.
I read a thing on I don't remember what that's called. I want to say Tinder, but it's not Tinder. But it's you know what I mean. Reddit. It's
Tinder? Reddit. Shocking revelations during Tea with Friends.
Yeah. This woman had said something like, I don't feel like, I don't remember her question, and then the man that answered, he's like, let me tell you how a man falls in love. And he wrote this it was beautiful. And he said, when you meet a woman, you usually just like categorize her like blonde, friend of my brother's, whatever, and he's like, but then you have all these people that and you don't even think about. And he just started talking about how you maybe notice her smile, and then you think about it the next day, what you had said to make her smile. And it was so darling, and it was so simple. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Went over stuff, and they're just that's weird. I made her smile. What did I do? Well, I liked that, or, so
exactly.
I guess simplify all of our stuff.
Well, what's tough too is, for the most part, we're writing for women. And so to a degree, we have to fudge that a little so that it feels satisfying to our readers. And yet we know that, so that's sometimes a hard balance.
I think they have all those feelings. They just don't dwell on them. That's
exactly. And that was kind of what I took away, was that it's more a matter of how much dwelling there is. Like, it occurs, it just, it doesn't dwell.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's see. Carmen is saying, I'm writing my first book. How hard was it for you to initially find a publisher?
So hard. Was it hard for you? It was so hard. I had written that Sheik's Ruby, and it was rejected 100 times. It was forever, and I was still querying it when I finished the next one and the next. So there was a time when I was querying 4 books, and I would just get, rejections every time I looked at my email. I was like, oh. But I think the way that it worked out for me to publish with Covenant is because you led the way there, and I just, swooped into your shadow.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know you did. And even I had talked to Kathy Gordon, and Kathy Jenkins now, but she had said something like, oh yeah, I remember that book you wrote. Why don't you try a Regency romance? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. Does it have a ship in it? Because I really like ships. Have a ship. But she said, read Sarah's book. And anyway, but that's how that worked out. Is it took forever. Oh, I never want to do that again.
And I think we don't. That's another thing we don't realize when we're first starting out is it can take a long time.
Yeah.
Because we tend to hear about those stories where like an author got published on their first shot and their first book goes huge, and we forget that is one of the reasons we hear about it is because it's such an anomaly.
Yeah. Well, I had written the first book, I don't know, 4 or 5 years before I wrote Lady Lockwood, and they came out like within a month or two of each other because it had taken all that time of submitting and querying and yeesh.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we've got any others that have come through. Okay. What is something you enjoy reading that is not something you could picture yourself writing?
I like a lot of true crime. I really like crime and like unsolved mysteries and Jack the Ripper and serial killer stuff. I know, it's weird. Yeah, I would never write it. It's gross and creepy.
We're learning all kinds of things about you. You're on Tinder. You enjoy learning about serial killers.
Right. Yeah, I do. I love Jack the Ripper books. Just I'm so fascinated by that creepy guy. Who the heck is he?
Right. No, I get it. I enjoy watching Forensic Files. And one of my favorite books I read last year was all about crimes from the Victorian era. And yeah, some of them were creepy, some of them were strange, and I could never see myself actually writing them, but it was fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's so weird that like people are so much the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Did you read this? Is this the one? The Yard? Did you read The Yard?
No.
It was maybe a little too edgy for me.
The one I read was called The Battered Body Under the Flagstones, and it's just a collection of stories of real crimes from the Victorian era and how they went about solving them, or the reasons they couldn't solve them because they didn't have forensics like we have now. Yeah, it was very interesting. Some of it you were like, "Whoa."
Suspicions of Mr. Witcher. Did you read that? That one, that was a true, and he was one of the first people that's like, no, nobody walk here on this crime scene. We need to look for footprints and stuff. And, the neighbors are coming to look.
Yeah.
Like, no. Everybody.
Some of the things they talk about when they got there and what they did, and I'm like, you're destroying all the evidence. I've watched Forensic Files for 12 seasons.
Right, put those gloves on.
Exactly.
Don't pick anything up.
Oh. All right, Jessica is asking, how do you select the names of your characters?
I don't know. You have to find something that's period appropriate, I guess, and
at least believable, right?
Yeah. And then you don't want it to sound too much. You don't want their names to rhyme, or you don't want it to sound that's
too similar.
The ones the series that I am working on now, I wanted everybody, all the women that the stories are about, there's 5 of them, I wanted their names to work in the title, so that's how I like Solving Sophronia and Educating Elizabeth and Inventing Vivian, so that's how I picked those names.
The gerunds and then their name. That's my Lancaster series uses that same title formula.
Yeah. Did that. So how do you pick your names? Just
census and baptismal records usually. Or sometimes I'll come across a type of name, like I came across in some of my research someone who was named for a Greek, someone from Greek mythology, which gave me permission to name my Lancasters after characters from Greek mythology because I saw that it had been done. And other times when names were, they were named for things, things basically, or characteristics or character traits. And so my Kendrick family, which is Sorrel's family, they're all named for herbs. So
I love that.
you come across things and you go, okay, that did happen at the time. I can move forward with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And every family, I mean, you know that families did weird stuff just like we do.
yeah.
Like all the kids' first name starts with whatever. Or,
Absolutely.
just.
Exactly.
Stuff like that's kind of fun.
Exactly. Very cool. All right, well, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark, which is about where I ended it with Tracy last time. So I'm going to wrap it up by asking you, what is something you are looking forward to doing once we are on the other end of this virus shelter-in-place isolation?
I'm excited for my tennis league to start up again. We're all suspended because we can't play tennis.
Right.
We still have lessons if, just there's like 3 of us outside. But
right.
I miss my tennis league. And what about you? You're excited to get out of your room.
I'm excited to just leave this room. Go literally anywhere. Go back to Neaters to do my writing with my carbs.
We're simple people. We just get out of our house.
Exactly. That's it. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, best of luck with solving sophronia. I can speak, I promise. I'm looking forward to it. I love Victorian era fiction, so I'm really excited.
Well, thanks. Thanks. Alrighty.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Bye.